Hi, this is Oliver Blair from Massey University in Wellington, and we're going to go through how to do that State House project in Revit this time. So it's a bit different from Vectorworks, but it's actually a lot easier at some things, and like anything, it's just practice and you'll get the hang of it sooner or later. So I've got that PDF of the drawings for the State House open again, the 1456 one, and we're just going to go through how to sort of draw it in Revit. So first of all, I've just opened Revit up, and you guys won't have any of these projects in your one, but it's pretty simple. All you have to do is just go New, Project, and it'll ask you what template file to use. So I've just been using the architecture one because it's a bit simpler. So I'll just go New Project, OK. And it sort of says it's going to upgrade. So I'm using Revit 2014, so that should be installed on the labs. Cool, and this is how it looks like when it loads up. So as you can see, we've got this sort of ribbon toolbar up the top with these different sort of menus in it. A whole bunch of stuff going on. And then down here you can see I've got the project browser with project 1 open up, and then I've got over here the properties. So that's sort of like the object info in Vectorworks. But if we take a look, you can see it's got views and it's got floor plans, and it's already made level 1, level 2 and a site plan for me, and also ceiling plans, and also 3D view it's sort of made called work, and then it's got these elevations as well. So it's all pretty much set up already, so we don't have to like make any stories or anything like that. But so what's the first one we're going to go through? Yeah, so views, levels. So we'll take a look at how you can see the different levels. So this is the plan view. So it's got the bubble grid sort of started for us, and then these elevation markers already set up as well. And it's also got down here the elevation. So if I double click on that, that goes into the elevation. So we've still got our A bubble grid. So this line here corresponds to this line here. So having that already set up is really easy to understand, and it's already got these levels set up as well. So this is how you sort of change the the level. You can just sort of drag it down, so, and that'll change the story height, and that'll change the level that this plan is cut at. So pretty easy. So first of all, probably what I want to do is change it into feet and inches, just to make it easy for me when I'm inputting all this stuff here, to make sure it's all the right measurements. So to do that, I think it's under Manage up there on the ribbon sort of toolbar. So you go Manage, and then it's up here, Project Units. And what I'll do is I'll just change Length, the first one, and I'll change it to feet and fractional inches. We'll try that to the nearest ½ inch. What about decimal inches? Is that going to be easy? Decimal feet. Maybe we'll just try decimal feet to begin with. So OK, and then I'll just leave all the other ones the same. Cool, so that's 7 feet. So what we want is our, if I zoom out or pan over, we want one at 2 feet 2 inches, and then 8 feet 2 inches after that. So 2 feet 2 inches. So what I'll do is I'll just double click on that. So I'm on the elevation view, and I'm just going to double click on this level marker. Or you don't need to double click, you just click once. You go 2 feet 2 inches, and it puts it to the right place. I don't think that decimal feet is right because we want to see the inches as well. So I'll change the project units again. I might try feet and fractional inches. There we go. See how that does. Cool. So, and then I'll call this one. So all I'm doing there is just clicking over here, and I'll just click on the level and then click, and sort of selects it, and see how this ribbon sort of changes to green. And then I'll click on the name, and I'll change that to foundation. And so after I press enter, it says, would you like to rename the corresponding views? So it's pretty cool. Everything's sort of linked and dynamic. And now you can see over here in the floor plans, it's changed it to the foundation plan. So that's pretty cool. And I'll call this floor. Yeah, and I'll rename that. And what if I want another level here as well? So what you can do then is go over to the architecture menu again, and then right at the end should be one called level. And so see, all these tools are got those big nice icons and nice easy to understand labels and stuff. But the coolest part about it is if you hover over it and just leave your mouse there for a while, it comes up with this window explaining to you what's going on and how to use the tool. So it's really sort of easy and quick to sort of learn Revit. So if I press level, then it sort of changes to green again. It means we're in this sort of context specific sort of mode up here for the tool that we're currently using. So see how I'm on modify place level, and there's different options here as well. So, and then there's this sort of menu down here as well. So see how there's a little checkbox saying make plan view? And if I click on this plan view types, I think by default it has all of them turned on, but I don't really want a ceiling plan. Well, maybe I do, I don't know, I can add one later on, but probably don't want a structural plan. I just want a new floor plan as well. So I'll go OK, and so it's just going to generate one floor plan for the elevation I'm going to make, for the new level I'm going to make, sorry. And then I'll just sort of click above it and then sort of drag along, and see if I drag along far enough it sort of snaps to where the other guys are, and that'll line up nicely and make it look nice. So I'll just go yep, there, and I think yeah, so that's all good. So it's called level 3, and it made a new one on a new floor plan called level 3. And then if I just click modify again, and I just click on the that level again, you can sort of drag out. See how there's these blue sort of buttons or little end bits? They're sort of control points where you can sort of drag things along. So I can click over here and drag it sort of anywhere. Right, I can drag it over there or whatever. Don't really want to do that. I want to do that. So, but if I drag over here, it's just going to drag it in and out. So I can line it up with the other guys as well. Cool. Now that's not at the right height. That's at 9 feet 8 inches above 0, right? So what I want though is it to be actually, if I go back to here, 8 feet 2 inches from the top of the foundations, right? So to do that, you can click here, click on it, and see how it's got this dimension between the levels. So you can actually click on that and type it in 8 feet 2 inches and then go enter, and it'll move it to the right distance. So that's like the sort of number one coolest thing about Revit I've found, is that you can sort of click on things and it'll automatically tell you what distance they are between other things nearby, and then you can sort of click and alter it just from that. So it's really smart. Cool. So that's sort of round about right. Might want this on negative maybe, but it's all good. We'll just leave it there. Cool. And I'll probably call that roof. just so we know what we're talking about. Cool. What's next? It's levels, right? Classes. Okay, so classes are how do I explain this? It's the same sort of thing as Vectorworks, but it sort of automatically does a lot of it for you. But say if I'm in this elevation view, which I am in the east view, right? But I don't want to be able to see the bubble grid. What you can do is make sure you've got the east elevation selected, and then the properties should be for the building elevation, right? So then down here under graphics, there should be visibility / graphics overrides. So I can click on that, and then it'll bring up all the model categories, all the annotation categories, all these other ones as well, right? So I think it's under model, or no, it'll be annotation. So if I uncheck all of them and go apply, we can't even see the levels, but just for this little test I wanted to just hide the bubble grid. So I think it'll be under, is it grid bubble? Maybe we'll just try grids. There we go. Cool, so that's kind of classes, but they'll come into play more later on. But what if we want to make a new sheet to put like drawings and stuff onto, and have a title block? So you can see in the project browser we've got views, we've got legends, schedules, and sheets. So it's made one for us already, so if I double click on that, it sort of comes up with this guy, and it's got a sort of default title block on it. So don't really want to do that, have that title block, because it's a bit weird. You can sort of edit it and stuff, but what you can do is you can go, either you can right click on here and go new sheet, or you can go up to I think it's views, and then go sheet here. There's also a title block option as well, but I'll just go new sheet, and then it sort of asks me what title block I want to put in. So for some reason it's got default, it's got A2 metric, but I want an A3, right? So I can go load, and then the title blocks should be under title blocks. For me it defaults to this sort of location under Autodesk Libraries New Zealand, and then title blocks. And there's one A3. I've sort of modified it for another one, the other practice tutorials thing I made, and then but you guys should have this one here as well, so you can go A3 metric, and see how it's called an RFA, and if I hover over it, it says type Revit family. So we're actually loading a family for the first time, so I'll explain that more in a bit. So I'll go OK. Cool, and now it's made us a new sheet. It's called it A102 unnamed. So you can have multiple sheets with different title blocks on it, which is kind of interesting as well. Cool. But what if I want to change the name of the sheet? You can just right click and go rename, and it's got the number and the name. So I think we'll just start with 100 maybe, and then what do we call the name? We'll call it we'll start with the floor plan maybe. Cool, and it's renamed it. So what I'll do is I'll just delete the other one. Sweet. And then what if I want to sort of change this title block? Like I don't really like the layout of it, or I want to change the font or something, or put my logo in. So you can just click on it, and then up here it sort of changes to green again because we've selected something. And then there's this thing saying edit family. So I'll click on that. Now what it's done is it's loaded up the title block as a sort of a new project. So this is quite an important sort of distinction between Vectorworks and well, I guess they're kind of like symbols in a way. kind of like a symbol, I guess, in Vectorworks. But yeah, so it's a Revit family. It's sort of like a component that's outside of the project that you can load in to any project. So it's like sort of separate assets that you can sort of build up a library of and like reuse later on. And you can sort of download them online as well. So cool, and now you can just sort of edit that. Like maybe I don't want to have that, and maybe put a logo in or something. So I can go insert an image, maybe. But yeah, and then once you're done editing, you can just go load into project. But before I load it in, what I want to do is sort of save it as something else. So I'm not overriding this A3 metric default one. So I'll go up on the Revit button thing there and go save as. See, I can't save it as a project, but the current project is a family, so I can save it as a family, and I'll call it State House 2. Cool. And then see here there's options as well when I save something, and Revit's pretty cool because you can sort of set up how many backups you want to save for it. And yeah, cool, whatever, that's all good. So it's save, sweet, and that's changed the name of it up here, and we can go load into project. Cool, did that work? Probably because I saved it as a different name. I need to load it into the project again. Oh, and it's pretty cool because so if I go back to the sheet view, the floor plan, and then just click on the title block, and then up here in the properties, I can click on this guy, and it'll let me load in, swap it for a different family. So there's that one I just made. Sweet. That's pretty cool. Cool, and so the final thing we need to do before we start drawing the model is sort of set up the bubble grid some more. So if I go to the floor plan, you can sort of see what scale it's at, 1 to 50. Yep, sweet, all good. So what I'll do now is I think you can go to architecture again, and you can go grid, and then you can sort of draw it. It's just like the level tool that we did in the elevation to set up the levels, but now I'll set up the grid. So if I pan over on the plan again, so we have this sort of line set up and this line set up, and so I want another one that is what is that, 41 feet 6 inches. Yeah, so what I'll do is I'll just draw another one. Oh, what's going the wrong way? So good, I'll just draw it up. And then again, I can just type in here 41 feet 6 inches, and it moves it to the right spot. And then in from that, because it's that whole width there, I want another one that's 8 feet to that wall there. So how's that going to work? Oh, that's funny. 8 feet. Oh, whoops. See, I put it in the wrong dimension. So if I go back and select that one, I typed it into that one. So what I want to do is type it in here, 8 feet. So that the gap between these two is 8 feet. Cool. It's funny how it sort of goes 1, 2, 3 like that. Oh, and again with the selecting, so it's like the selection tool is a lot like SketchUp. So if I go select that way, whatever I select has to be sort of completely inside that rectangle for it to be selected, but I can also go from the bottom up, and it's just whatever it's touching it'll select. So that's pretty cool. But I think what I can do is select all those and go name one. Oh no, I have to do it manually. Oh, what? That's alright. Cool, there we go. So that should be 8 feet, and then this will be 41 and whatever from there. And if I ever want to check a dimension, you can just go to up to annotate up here on the menu bar, and then I'll just pick an aligned one, and you can go like that. And then I think yeah, so that's all good. Cool. And then where's that plan again? So that's set up, yep. Maybe I want another one. Do I want another one? No, probably not. That's probably alright for now. Or maybe I want another one that's 26 and 3. Yeah. Yeah, so I'll grab this guy. And what you can do is also just press Control and just drag him up. And then he should be B. And go, what is it, 26 feet, 3 inches. Cool. Now we have our sort of grid bubble set up. Cool, so now let's draw some walls and some windows and some doors and stuff, and get some stuff happening. It's actually pretty easy, so I'll just draw these walls, so that goes up to that first bubble grid, and then but I'll just roughly sort of draw it out, and then that's how I do it anyway, as I sort of go. So all the walls and windows and doors are up under architecture. There's one wall called structural, but I haven't quite figured out how that works yet. I think it's for structural analysis and stuff that's built into Revit, but so you can just use the architectural one. It should be alright. And then so I've just clicked on the wall tool, and then all this stuff has sort of changed and come up. So there's a location line, which is that sort of rubber band line where the wall's going to draw from. So if I draw it from the center line, it's going to draw it like that. So we don't want that. We want it, because that's the exterior of this bubble grid here. So we want it to be finish face exterior. And then there's also height, which is uniform, which we don't want that to be like that. We want the floor to sort of finish at the roof. So the height will finish at the roof. There we go. And then the location line, and then chain. Yep, sure. And then offset. No, we want to leave it where we're going to draw it. Cool. So let's just draw out that rough sort of plan. So exterior sort of comes up to wait, did I think that's right, yeah. I think there should be another grid up here, another grid bubble. If I go back down, is it 26 and 3? Yep. So yeah, so you can just draw and then just draw to that intersection, and it sort of comes down, and then there's that sunroom sort of starts somewhere like that and comes out and goes back in, and then goes back down again, and then yeah, sort of roughly like that, sort of roughly. And then, so is that what we wanted? Linear, 25mm linear, yep, and then 10 jib on the inside. So if I zoom in, it doesn't really change, see, it doesn't update. So in Revit, to get it to sort of show the structure of it, in the plan view, what you have to do is sort of select nothing, or select just the floor plan, and then go, I think it's detail level, and then medium. Yeah, and then see how it sort of changed then. And then that's sort of the level of detail it's giving us for that, which is cool. Or you can change it to scale 1 to 10, say. I'll go apply. And that sort of changes the line weights, and sort of you can have a wee bit of fill there as well. But we won't worry about that sort of representation of it just yet, so I'll just put it back on 50, scale 1 to 50. And then, so there's that exterior wall, so that's all good. And then we've got some internal walls. I should know this off by now, but yeah, so I'll just roughly sort of draw all those walls, sort of roughly, with a different type of wall. So we'll go with the wall tool again, but instead of that 25 linear, I'll put it on, skirting. Okay, I'll put it on 10mm jib, both sides. Cool. And there's sort of a wall that sort of starts, oh wait, I want to put it on the roof, yeah, and then not the center line, I want to put it on the exterior again. So it sort of goes that way, sort of a room like that, and then there's another one coming down here, sort of. Oh, did that? Oh no, I didn't draw it properly. Oh no, yep. And then there's another wall here, right? So, oh cool, I drew it the right way. So, see if I draw it that way, it sort of sticks out. Doesn't really work. But what you can do is just undo that and draw it from the other way. And then I think it's quite smart, like even if I go over a wee bit, it sort of automatically sort of heals it properly and sort of joins the walls properly. Cool, and then there's another one sort of starts here, sort of, and goes sort of up there. And then is there more sort of, is this sort of porch thing? I'll just draw another box around there, so it's sort of like that-ish. Cool. So that'll do for now. So I've sort of roughly, oh no, it didn't heal it properly. That's weird. Maybe I need to sort of select that piece of the wall and then drag that little control point down and make it so it snaps on the corner. Sweet, that was easy. Okay, it worked. Cool. So now I want to get all the dimensions accurate, right? So the cool part about Revit, like I said before, is if you click on something, it'll show the dimensions of where it sits on its sort of neighbours. It's sort of like, it's quite intelligent in how it sort of figures out stuff. So we want that dimension to be something. So what is that? 6 feet, 7.5. So I should be able to just click on that dimension and go 6 feet, 7.5 inches. Sweet. And the same thing for this one, right? 6 feet, 7.5 inches. Cool. And then that should be alright. And then where is this one? And the cool thing about this is you can make sure that the proper dimensions are adhered to. So if we look at the plan again, see it's got this internal dimension, which is quite important. That's 17 feet, right? So they want it to be exactly 17 feet inside. So yeah, but I'm not showing that dimension here, so that needs to come down here. So what you can do is just click on that little blue, it's called the witness line. Yeah, so you can click on that and then drag it down so you can go the exterior or the interior, and then go 17 feet. Awesome. And that should make this 8 feet 3 inches, hopefully. 8 feet something something something. It might be a bit off because of the wall thickness. Might not be exactly what they imagined, but that's all good. We'll just go 17 feet. I like that better than 18 and 3, 8 and 3. And then, so I'll just go through and quickly do it for all the other ones as well. Cool. So I've roughly done that. All right, and let's put some windows in. So again, up here on the architecture tab, on the oops, just double clicked on it and changed how it's laying it out. There we go. So I want it on window. So you just click on that, and then it sort of defaults to this aluminium grooved one. So what I want to do is change that to something else, and it's only got these two options here. So this is a family, and then the different sort of sub-family types. But I want to load a new family. So up here it says load family. And then it should be under, I think, components, and then doors and windows. And then windows. And then, so again, these are families. Probably what you want to do when you do it properly is either make the families from scratch, which would be awesome, or like download something from the internet that's sort of roughly right. Because these are all, you could probably edit these as well to get exactly what you want, because they're a bit funny. So they're sort of like SketchUp models in a way, like a SketchUp warehouse. It's that sort of thing, like other people have made them and then they're in here. So what I'll do is I'll just load up a sort of simple looking one. Aluminium, no, we want timber. Maybe I'll just go with something like that for now. And then, yeah, so it's loaded up the family. And it says here it's got the sill height, but not really too sure what that is. And then there's some options up here as well. But what we can do is then just start putting them in. So if I look at the plan again, there's a couple here. Yeah, so I'll just roughly put them in. And then see how it's sort of flipping. You always want to click on the outside in Revit. So that window is going to be facing inside, so all the architraves are going in. But we want it out. So let's put one there. Let's put another one there. There's one sort of here, right? I think there's one there as well. And you can sort of see when you're hovering over the walls, it comes up with the blue dimensions as well. Sort of tells you where it is, and sort of when they're both the same, it's going to be in the middle, right? And it sort of snaps to the middle as well. Cool. That's probably enough of the windows. And I think if you click on it, then you can sort of alter some options here, some quick options, and you can also go edit type, and it'll come in with a little more options as well. So there's sort of options for the sash and things like that. That'll vary depending on what on what family you've loaded in. But yeah, we'll go through that in more detail if you choose to use Revit for your final hand-in. Cool. So some windows around about there, and doors are just the same. So it's a door, and then you load in a family, right? So by default, it's got these internal single flush and external ones. They're all right for what we want to do. So I'll just say, yeah, 18. Cool. So that's an internal door. So there's, oh, where are the doors again? Yeah, there's one here, one here. and it sort of opens the other way though. So what you can do to change its position is just click on these guys, and that'll sort of flip it. And then, yeah, and then flip it again, and then there's another one here somewhere, right? So like that. I think it's flipped that way. Yep. And then there's some more somewhere here. Or is it there? Or it's probably not there. I think it's there somewhere. Is there another one there? Yeah, it sort of opens that way. Cool. Well, that's probably an external one there, actually. Because it doesn't say there's a door swing. That's weird. Okay. We'll figure that out. Cool. So they're the internal ones. So now I want to put some external ones in. So, yep. Click on the outside. And then another one here. Click on the outside. Great. It's looking better already. It's looking like a legit plan. Cool. So, that's windows and doors. Cool, so let's go through and figure out how to put a roof on, and then after that some foundations. So, I'm just in the floor plan, so I'll just change it to the roof plan and see how everything sort of gets greyed out a wee bit. Cool, so, and then the roof is in the architecture tab under roof, and if you hover over it, it sort of tells you how to draw a roof. So, and if there's on this down button as well, there's also this other stuff like a feet and a fascia and a gutter, things like that. But first we'll just go roof by footprint. Cool, and then so now I'm in the roof sort of drawing mode, and you can see under draw it sort of has all these different tools. So I can just draw a rectangle, or you can actually go pick walls. Yeah, so I might do that, and then I'll go around and pick all the walls. So you can sort of just click on the walls. There's that one, that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. I think there's this one as well, because there's sort of this roof and then there's this little roof here. There's another wee one over there as well. Yeah, so I'll try that. Cool, and it sort of puts a roof on, so you can check in the elevation views. Sweet, it's got this flat roof. So back to the roof plan. Click on the roof again and go edit footprint. And now we can sort of select this side, and you can sort of see here it says defines roof slope. So I'll check that. I'll go 32 degrees. Cool, and then hit apply. And then this one here as well. I'll set this slope to be 32 degrees also. And I'll go and see what that does. Cool, did something. So because we're in the plan view, it's sort of cutting through a metre above where we're looking. So that's why it sort of chopped it here. If I go back to the elevation, sweet, that's looking pretty good. And we got our big, ooh, something weird happening there. Yeah, we'll have to sort of split that into two roofs, I think. Alright, so to do that, I think I'll just click on the roof again and go edit footprint. And can I delete that? Sweet. And then delete that one. And probably delete that one. And that one. And then I'll just sort of drag this guy up to that corner. I'll see if that lets me do that. Cool. And then back to that different view again. Sweet, so now we've just got one roof, and now we just need another little one here. So let's go through the same sort of process again. So what is that? Door or roof? And then pick those walls. So sort of that one, and then I don't want that one. I want this one. This one. Here we go. We'll try that. Oh, now we need to sort of... Oh, if I go modify, make that slope again. 32. Yep. Enter. And this one, 32 as well. Cool. And then go done. Sweet. And now if I go back to the north elevation again. Cool. That's looking a bit better. It's quite flat though, looking at it like this. And you can sort of see all my windows look alright. And then there's that sort of linear walls and the doors as well. But what if I want that 3D view? So you can just go and double click on the work 3D view. Cool. And then you can sort of, I think if you hold down shift and then drag middle click around, you can sort of do an orbit kind of thing. But there's also these views over here, so you can sort of click on the corner and it'll do a different isometric or an elevation or whatever. Cool. So that's looking pretty good, except these walls here sort of aren't going all the way up. So to make them go all the way up, you can just maybe we'll go into this view here, and then click on the wall, and it should sort of say, yeah, it sort of says here attach top / base, and then if you hover over it, it sort of has a window there, and that's what we want to do. So we want to click on this and then go attach to the roof, and so I'll just click on the roof and then boom, done. That's pretty easy. I think the other side's going to be a bit more difficult because there's only one wall here and there's one wall here. So if I try it again, attach to the roof, yeah, see how it's going to leave this sort of gap here. So I'll undo that, and what I'll do is I'll just draw another wall in the roof plan, I guess. Roof, and then wall, and then make sure it's that exterior, 25 linear, yeah, and then finish, and then the height I'll set to the roof. No, wait, cancel that. I'll just make it whatever height, yeah, and then finish face exterior. And I'll draw a wall from here all the way down to the bottom corner. Cool, and that should have worked. It's got some door sort of inside something. South, no, we want west. Cool, there we go. So we want this guy here to attach to the roof. Sweet. Is that sort of done? Cool, that worked pretty well. But now we want some sort of overhangs on the roofs. Oh, this guy should go up as well. But everything's sort of reasonably easy in Revit. Sort of makes sort of sense. Cool, so we want some overhangs now on the roof. Cool, and to do overhangs you just click on the roof, and then you can go edit footprint, and then just like how we just sort of defined the slope, you just pick on which side you want to sort of specify an overhang for, and then it should be in the properties window thing over here. So what should the overhang be? If we look, that's going to be this guy here, so I'm not sure exactly what it'll be, so I might just say a foot. Try that. Oh wait, this one here will be 1 foot. Cool. And then this guy will be 1 foot as well. and then these will come out maybe a wee bit. Maybe I'll say that they're 6 inches, and this one as well, 6 inches. Cool, and then I'll just click that finish edit mode thing and see what that looks like. Sweet, that looks great, that looks a bit better. So it's overhanging a wee bit, and then cool, that looks about right. And then I'll do the same thing for that little guy later on, but now we want to put some gutters and some fascias and stuff on. So back to the roof plan, and then under the roof click on that down arrow thing, and then there should be fascia and then gutter. So I might put side fascias on first. So just click on fascia, and it should probably by default it'll come up with that spouting one, but you can just click on that property drop down thing, option thing, and then change it to, I'll probably change it to 19 by 180 for the side ones, and then the different size for the edges. So how the fascia tool works is you can just click on the roof edge that you want that fascia on. So the side ones, yep, that's done. And then now we'll put the gutters on. So roof and then gutter, and then I'll change it. Oh no, there's just that one option, that's alright. You might have to zoom in and make sure you get it on the outside of the fascia. Or I think if you hover over it, oh no, whoop. Oh, what happened there, I don't know. Yeah, so I want it there. And then, yeah, that one. And then this one here. And then this one here. Cool. And then I'll put the end fascias on as well. So go roof and then fascia again, and then change it to 19mm by 230. And hopefully this will work. And then click on that. Yeah, that sort of worked. And then this one, that one, that one, that one, and that one. Cool. And then what we want to do is sort of zoom in, because usually the fascia will be coming extending outside the gutter, right? So you can just click on the edge and then drag that little control point out. And I think what we want to do is just put it somewhere like that, maybe, or maybe a wee bit more. Oh, can I say 9 inches? No, that didn't work. I'll just put it outside the end of it. Cool. And then do the same for these guys. Yeah, so when they're all done, it should great, sort of look like that. And we've got our funny gutters coming up. They'll probably be a bit lower than that. But that's alright, we can fix that all later on. How's the east view look? Yeah, cool. Cool. So that's all good. Now how do we do the foundations? So I'll go to the foundation plan. And then click on floor, and what it wants is for us to select the walls again, sort of just like the roof tool, and then but it's got this sort of this option here. So what we want to do is we change that to something that makes sense. Maybe, yeah. So this is actually a thickness of the material. So what I'll do is I'll just draw that to begin with. So I'll start there, there, that one. And I'll just see what this does. So, okay, it sort of does a whole big slab. And then what I want to check is that it's at the right level. So I'll go to an elevation. Let's see how it's put it underneath. So it's on the foundation layer, or level, but it's going beneath it, because it's sort of smart. So what we can do is just change that level, put it on floor, and it puts it up there. So it should be going all the way down there. So we might have to sort of change the option for the type. And what we can probably do is pick a cool one. Screed. I'm not sure what a cool one is, so I'll just go generic 300. And what I'll do is I'll duplicate that and call it generic state 2 feet, 2 inches. Cool. And then what I'll go is click on the structure of it. And I'll change this to 2 feet, 2 inches. Cool. And go OK. And function interior, function exterior. Cool. And I'll go OK. And then that should have set it up properly. Yep. Cool, that's looking alright. Although it's kind of inset a wee bit. Probably that's what happened is when I clicked on floor. Yeah, you can have this extend into wall decor thing, so I probably should have checked that before I drew it. I wonder if I can go back and edit the edit boundary. Cool. Yeah, so Revit's quite smart. Like, if you click on edit boundary, it'll tell you to go to a view where you can actually see the boundary. So what were we on floor? Yep, open view. And then yeah, and so what I can do is probably select all of this and then go uncheck that extend into wall thing. And then yep, that's what we want to do. So I'll just go OK. And hopefully that worked. Great, so now it's sort of lining up perfectly. Cool. So that's sort of the foundation sort of roughly done. But that's probably good enough for this sort of initial test sort of thing. Great, that's looking alright as a 3D model too. Wicked, so now let's go over setting up the sheets with the views and the dimensions and the detail sheet and all the annotations and stuff, and then finally how to sort of print it out or export it as a PDF probably. Cool, so as I sort of said before, you've got your sheets down here, and I sort of made one before, but if you don't have one, then you can just, it's up under the view tab, and then I double click it again, oops, and then it should be come back sorry, up here under sheet, right? So you can go sheet and then set which title block you want, and then go OK. Cool, and it's sort of it's smart, and it'll add it as the next sort of number after the one that you were on. Cool, so I might want to change this one probably to what is it again, 200? 200 for elevation. Cool. But so I'll go back to the floor plan, and what we'll do is we'll put a view on here. So sort of like I've been going through all the stuff's in the project browser, and so all the views are under views, and there's plans and stuff like that. So any view we can sort of put onto the sheet simply by going under view, under the view tab up here, and then going view, and so it says place a view on the sheet. So if I click on that, it comes up with a list of all the views. So we want a floor plan, floor, sweet. I'll chuck that on, add view to sheet, and I'll put it so the label's sort of up there. Cool. And it's a wee bit bigger than our sheet because the bubble grid and everything is a bit big. So that's all good. What we can do then is I think you can double click on this, and then now you're actually editing the building. You're actually editing the plan, so I can delete walls and stuff just by double clicking on it. So it's a lot simpler than Vectorworks in that way. You don't have like an annotation sort of level and all these other sort of levels. It's all sort of part of the same model. But it also gets a bit confusing because there's a sheet layer that we're on, and then you can sort of go directly to that floor plan view, which is also exactly the same as this. If I double click on that, it's the same as sort of double clicking on that. So it can get a bit weird, but it's actually easier for me, I think. Yeah, so I think what we can do is sort of drag these guys around. I think what we want to do is select all of them and move them down. Oh, probably not actually, that made them all go off kilter. Ah, there we go, that's how you do it. You sort of drag it down by that guy. Yeah, there we go. So I'll put that one about there, because there should be another guy for the porch up here, right? And then I'll grab this guy, put him in a wee bit. There we go. And these are the elevation the elevation sort of view labels. So see how I double clicked on it and it went straight to the south elevation. So if I go back onto that sheet, and if I double click on this one, it'll take me to that elevation. So everything's sort of linked in as well, which is pretty cool. But what I want to do is sort of move them. I think how you do that is you sort of double click and you can go, yeah, you click on it and then you can sort of drag this down a bit, I think. Oh yeah, there we go. Sort of move him there. Cool. And I'll move this guy up a wee bit. Sweet, that's all good. And then I see, you have to sort of drag it from that guy there. So I'll put him there somewhere. Oh wait, he'll be up a wee bit actually, he'll be about there. This guy will be down here somewhere. This guy will be down here. Cool. And I'll double click on my sheet again, so I'm on that, and then I can sort of drag this to make sure it's all fitting on that sheet. Might have to move that elevation guy up a wee bit. Cool. And it's a bit tricky at sort of figuring out how to move things independently from one another, but it's just sort of whatever you sort of click on first, or click on after, or the sequence that you're clicking in and stuff like that. Because I sort of want to move this. Can I drag this in? Oh, it's alright, there'll be some way to do that. And see how the title block sort of automatically updated to the scale on the floor plan because there's only one drawing, there's only one view on this sheet. There we go. So I click on that and then I can drag this in. Cool. And then double click and then sort of drag him up a wee bit. Cool. So yeah, it's a wee bit tricky, but you'll figure it out. There we go. That's looking pretty cool, sort of-ish, in a roundabout way. But then what if I want to sort of change this from this sort of more detailed sort of line weights to like a hatch or something like that? So to do that, what you can do is double click and then select that wall, and it will come up with that wall type. So it's that exterior wall type, and then you can go edit type. So you can also change it from in here as well, and then I think it's under coarse scale fill pattern, and we can make it diagonal or something. Oh, cancel this one. Okay, did that work? Coarse scale fill color. Okay. And then I think what you have to do is change that viewport or the view to be detail level coarse, maybe? Yeah, there we go. It's sort of, you can change it to that sort of fill view, which might suit you better. It sort of dumbs down the doors as well. It might work better for that sort of view. And then same thing on the elevation sheet. If I click on that, and then I can go add view, add east elevation. I'll put them in there. Sweet. That's looking alright. And then what if I want some dimensions to sort of show the height between here and here? So what you can do is double click on here and put it in here. And I think all the dimension lines and things like that are under annotate. So if you just click on annotate and then we'll try aligned. So what we want to do is you can sort of hover over stuff and it'll measure it. So but with the aligned dimension you need to sort of select some dimensions, and then it wants you to sort of come out and have these leading lines onto it. So like that. But that's off the sheet obviously, so what I'll do is I'll move these level lines. So hopefully if I can just drag that in. Sweet, how easy was that? And then I might move the whole drawing. Oh no, yeah. What's this border here though? Maybe we can get rid of that some other way. Cool, so that's looking alright. And then maybe we want some, do we want this dimension, or probably maybe put some more in, but what about a section? Let's put a section in. Cool, so to draw a section you just go to I think it's view, the view pane, and then there's a button here called section. So if I just hover over it, it says you can draw them in plan, section, elevation and detail. So because we're on a sheet we can't do a section, so I'll just go to a plan, floor, and then I'll just go section, and then we sort of want one across section like this. So I'll just draw it through the front door and through that other door. Oh, and I want it to go that way, but I think I can flip it after I draw it. Yeah, there we go, you can just flip it. Sweet, so done. And I think it would have automatically generated a section. Here we go, section 1. Cool, so that's looking alright. You can see some sort of detail happening here, but I probably want it through a window as well, but that's alright, we can just change that later on. And then I'll go to view and go sheet, and yeah, I want that title block again, and then I'll change the name to 300 and call it section, and then go add view, section 1. Cool, and then it comes up with where to position it. Great. So it's looking pretty good, sort of, so far, kind of. Probably want to get rid of these levels, maybe, in here. And can we change the size of this? 1 to 20? Is that going to fit on there? I think we talked about this already in Vector Estimate. It's not going to fit. Alright. So we'll just leave it 1 to 50 because that's sort of standard and makes sense. Cool. So there's our section again. And what's quite cool is if you go to the plan, you can sort of see the section's been put in, and it's got the what drawing it's on as well. So like sheet 300 and drawing number 1, right? So and then the elevations as well. So sheet 200, drawing number 1. So which is pretty cool. And then if you double click into the plan drawing, and then you double click on this, I think. Yeah, it takes you to that elevation. And then I think the same for this. Yeah, it'll take you to that section. So everything's sort of linked in and hyperlinked in as well, which is quite cool. Great. Now let's put some details in. So details should be on 400. So I'll add a new sheet and rename it again to 400, and then call it details. Sure. And then so now what we want to do is probably go to that section and grab a detail of something. So probably a good one might be the door jamb. Yeah. So what you can do is so what I'll do is I'll go to the floor plan. I'll do a plan detail. So I've just picked out an example one that Jen has provided from one of her old drawing sets. It's this house edition on Clyde Street, I think, this one. And so I've just picked this external corner detail. So I'll do something like this. So in Revit, I'm just on the floor plan view, and you just go up to the view tab, and you can just press on this call out guy here, and then you just sort of draw a rectangle around what you want a detail view of. So I'll just leave it like that, and then what it does is it automatically generates call out. So it's called it call out of floor. So cool. That should sort of be alright. I'll just leave it that name for now. And I might change the scale. I might change that to 5, maybe 1 to 5, because then we have a bit more detail here. Cool. So now we've got this detail. We can put it on a detail sheet that we created. So just go to the detail sheet and then go add view, and then should be floor plan, call out a floor. Cool, and I'll put it on there. Great, but now I sort of want to hide this grid bubble because it's a bit weird to show that. Well, it's not too weird, but because it's a detail, because it's a sort of, it's more of a universal sort of external wall detail. I don't really want to reference it really to that grid bubble. So you can go visibility / graphics on the detail view, and then just under annotation, and it should be under grid, I think. Grids. I'll turn that off. Sweet, done. And now I can yeah, and if I go back to the plan, like the plan view on the sheet, it'll have that call out view, and it'll automatically have updated the label for the call out for the detail. So it's drawing number 1 on sheet 400, which is pretty cool. And I think if I go into the plan and double click on that, it should take me to that view as well. Yeah, cool. Great, but how do we add all those, because there's sort of the jib there, and there's sort of, this is supposed to be that external lining, and then there's the framing in here. But how do we add all that detail to it? So in Revit, it's under, all that stuff's under annotate, and it's basically the detail line, the region, and there's some other stuff as well. There's like insulation and things there, but and there's labels and things as well. But what I'll do first is sort of I'll put in those timbers for the external cladding, so they sort of run down here. So what I'll do is I'll just go region, and then it comes up with a region sort of thing, and what I want to do is sort of, yeah, draw just an outline, because it's got this miter join. So I'll go from here to, oh, is it going to let me do there? Yeah, there to there. Oh, to there to there. Cool. Did that work? Maybe not. I can sort of go modify and then move it around a bit as well, I think. Maybe move it up a bit. Yeah, I want that guy in the corner, that's right. And then this guy here in the corner too. Cool, there we go. And then, so I've already created a timber sort of one, but what I did was just, I think it was by default it was concrete or something. So what I did was just go edit type, and then I went duplicate, called it timber 2, and then sort of changed that fill pattern to something that sort of relatively made sense. So I think, yeah, there's these sort of 190 blocks and there's earth, but I think just wood finish sort of makes sense. So I'll just call it that. Yeah, and then make sure it's set on that, and then go OK to finish the editing mode for that fill region. And sweet, done. And then just add another one. So let's start about there, and then goes to there, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then it's on timber as well. Yep. Cool. So how do we sort of say, what's Jen got here? She's got tight miter joint to horizontal weatherboards. Can I copy that? Sweet. So I'll just copy that. So in Revit, it's just a text annotation. So you can click on that, and then after you click on it, it sort of comes up with all the options for the texture, for the text box, and so it has these leader things as well. So I quite like the curved ones because they're quite different from the squarey sort of stuff that's going on here. So I'll just, I'm not sure exactly how you do this. I'm not sure if you click. Oh yeah, there we go. just sort of click, and then I think I want all the annotations to sort of line up, probably with this line maybe. So I'll just click here, and then paste in Jen's comments. Cool, and then oh, that's weird. Text, you can't see the text. So I figured out what that was it was outside of this crop box window thing here that's sort of cutting off everything. So if I put it inside, then it sort of will show it. But if the text label's outside that box, then it will sort of not show it. Cool. So sort of, ooh. Oh yeah, there we go, it's sort of disappearing as soon as it gets more than halfway out maybe. So how do we change that? I think you can click on this and then just drag this guy out. Oh, there's some test ones I made. That's interesting. Cool, so I'll get rid of them, Cool. So to do that I just clicked on that border and then you can just drag it out. Great, so there's that one. Great. And then, do we want to say that that's Jib? Maybe not. Let's see what Jen's done. No. And then we've got direct fix, timber weatherboards. Yeah, and it should keep the same settings as last time. And it should, yeah, it should sort of line up. So I can sort of click there. Great. And then how do I draw this sort of line thing here, which is the stainless steel corner soakers to weatherboards? Say we had that exact same detail, and you just want to redraw it. So what you can do is under the annotate again, and it's just detail line. So after I click on that, it'll come up with there's a thing called line style, and there's all these different sort of line styles you can set up. So what we want is probably some sort of medium lines. Let's try that. And so what was it sort of like coming out like that sort of thing. Probably don't want to do that. I'll undo that. So probably what I want to do is go detail line, medium lines, and then change this offset. Maybe put that offset to like 1 inch, and I can sort of trace around here. Oh, the offset's going the other way. So I can trace around here, and it'll sort of offset from my drawing for me. And then I'll change that to nothing. And remember, this is just me being quick and rough and just sort of trying to knock something out quickly to show you guys. So that's something's happening there. But I probably want to move that so you can see that arrow a bit clearer. There we go. And then another text thing. Make sure it's lined up with the other text. Cool. And then how do we add this dash line here, the building wrap, which is sort of behind the flashing. So I'll just do the dash line first. So again, it's another detail line, and then the line style, there should be a dashed, medium dashed maybe, probably a thin dashed. And we'll sort of just put it, yeah, so you can sort of see if I zoom in, sort of if I come straight down, it has this angled line as well. That tells me it's in line with that, which is great, really handy. Cool, and then I'll bring that out. When I'm done, I'll just hit escape, and then go text, and I'll put another one from there, and then building wrap. Cool, and then we probably want to move this out though, or maybe move this in, or zoom in a bit or something. No, that should be alright. And then, where are we? Or if there's some nails that we can sort of import into it. Cool, I didn't find any nails, but I found some timber members. So if I go back to that plan of jeans, you see these guys here with the crosses, showing that they're the studs, I think they're called. So if I go back to Revit, and then it's under component, so detail components, so if I click on that, again with the load family thing, so you can import other stuff that you've made, but also by default it has these guys here as well. So framing continuous 90 by 45, clicked on that, and then you can sort of put it in. So Hatching's got it like that, and then another one on rotated the other way. So I'll put this guy about there, and then put another one there. Right? Cool. And then I'll rotate this guy around. Like that. And then move him to that corner. Could probably even drag him out a wee bit so that we can detail this up properly, because we need to put that corner flashing and then the building wrap behind that. And it's sort of curved there, which is kind of cool. I'll see if I can do a curved corner as well. So it's sort of like that, and then this here is sort of like that. So cool. So I want to sort of make this building wrap have a little curved corner. So if I zoom in, it's sort of straight, which makes it look like it's sort of a structural sort of thing or something. But you can see in Gene's one, it's sort of curvy, so it makes it look like it's wrapping around, which makes sense. So if I go in Revit, I think if I click on this, no wait, where was it? I think it was under detail line, yeah, and then you can sort of go fillet arc, and it says rounds a corner created by two intersecting lines. So I can go click on that, and then click on that line, and then drag the mouse up, or just sort of move the mouse around. So I want it to sort of be curvy, like maybe like that curvy. Cool. Great. And then I won't do this plasterboard thing, but you can just redraw it. But yeah, that's basically how you do it. And I think you might have put some more text labels there or something. But yeah, so everything's sort of just drawing lines and things like that. And then if I go outside that view, if I go to the details sheet, everything will be on there. Cool. That's probably quite a big scale, so I think I can change it to 1 to 10. And then it'll sort of crop everything out, but I can then go back into the drawing and then change that crop again so that everything shows up. Cool. So that sort of looks pretty almost legit. Yeah, cool.